our music's a little sensitive and emotive. We could be like sensitive mind or sensitive head. And then somebody said sensitive head, was like phallic-y. And, I was like, we're not going to go with that at all. Actually, we're not sensitive head. So that we're dropping that. And then Dave was like, well, babies have soft spots on their little sensitive heads. And I was like, dude, soft spot's the name. I was like, that's it. We're not going anywhere else. We're doing that. So we were soft spot after that.
This is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, this is Kate Clover.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Hi, my name is Madeline Rose.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
It's Tim Howard here from Mike and the Mechanics.
Hello, I'm Amanda Lehman.
I'm Billy Harvey.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Casey Sampson from the band Twist Stop.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Mitchell.
Hey guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
You're listening to Almost Famous Magazine.
Come join us for this interview. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hang right here on Almost Famous Magazine. I'm your host, Scott Saldinger, and we really appreciate everyone who comes back for these fantastic hangs week after week, learning about new musicians, older musicians, musicians from all over the world, you name it. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, share it, ring the bell, do all the things you know to do. It helps us, and it also helps the artists that we're hanging with. Also, you can now take The Hang with you on the go. Anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast, we are now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, Player FM, Boomplay, and more. So if you just want to, hit the road and you're looking for something to listen to, come and hang with us. Today, we're going to be hanging with guitarist and vocalist Gianni Carpanzano of the Stamford, Connecticut band Soft Spot. Now, the name, everybody, I've listened to their music. A little misleading, I think, but we're going to figure that out together. And they are on a mission to make listeners cry. Now, I can't wait to find out if it's, cry for joy, cry in pain, cry for whatever. But, with purchase, we're going to get Gianni to promise that with every purchase of their music, you get a free box of Kleenex. They released an aptly named album back in June. This Will Make You Cry. So there's got to be some connection there, I would imagine. It includes popular songs like Hey Now, Use Me, Lose, Screw It Down, and Soul Glaze. They've already begun to gain traction in the U.S., Europe, South America. I'm looking forward to getting to know the band. Gianni, welcome to The Hang, buddy.
Hey, what's going on, Scott? Thanks for having us.
That was a mouthful. And I mean, well, you know what? Hang on. I got a box right here, just in case.
Kleenex ready, baby.
Just in case. I am ready for today's conversation.
You never know when the waterworks are hitting.
Look, it's happened here before. We've had some people just, I've cried. Other people have cried. I mean, this is an opportunity to be you. Where we start all of these is with your musical origin story. And the question is, did you find music or did music find you? And what's that journey been like?
I think, honestly, I would have to say music found me. I think like my whole life, my mom really was trying to put a guitar in my hand. And it wasn't until I was like 15 to where I was like, this is something that I really like and I want to do. And when I was like, 8 or 9 years old, I got this little electric guitar with a speaker in it and I would mess around with it. But I would never like get good enough to start actually playing songs or really figuring stuff out. But it wasn't until years later to where I was like, I wanted to just play songs that I liked and bands that I liked and be able to recreate a song and just be able to play the guitar. And it was something that I always like really wanted to do. And I think music kind of, had kind of like laid itself upon me my whole life. And I just it didn't hit me until it really hit me. And when it did, I was like, this is something that I really love and I'm going to figure this stuff out. So I taught myself from YouTube and just kind of went from there. And, that was like, I'm 28 now. This was 13 years ago. And, I wouldn't change anything. I love music. I love playing guitar and I'm glad that it found me.
Oh, that's awesome. So you mentioned you taught yourself watching YouTube. When you started playing, right?
Mhm.
What were some of the artists or genres that really kind of connected with you for that initial, like, I'm going to learn this, but I want to learn these types of songs, this style of music?
It was super completely different. I grew up like really well. When I first started growing up, I would like listen to like my mom introduced me to like classic rock, Led Zeppelin, and then got me into grunge and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. But during that time when I first started playing guitar and music, I really loved pop punk, and I was listening to bands like All Time Low and The Maine. Trying to think what other bands at that time, the Starting Line, stuff that I don't necessarily listen to or even think about now, because I'm really grunge heavy, and yeah, heavier music and stuff is kind of like what I've surrounded myself with the last few years. I try to listen to other stuff and really keep myself, keep things fresh, but I definitely do get tunnel vision when I'm like writing and I'm like listening to similar music or similar bands and stuff. um but yeah, I hope that answered that.
Yeah, well, so that leads me to wonder. I mean, you're going down, a harder rock genre, more of a grunge, louder, more powerful. Yet you've named this band Soft Spot. How did that come
Yeah.
about?
Okay, so we had a different name beforehand, and we were like really trying to figure out what this band was. Like we've been together for about 4 years. We've been with Mark, our drummer. Now we've been with him he's been in the band, I think, like since 2022, so 3 years. So it's been about like 3 years since we've really been getting stuff together. But in that time, we've been like, evolving and finding our sound and finding out who we are. And when I first started, writing some of these songs that are on this album, I wrote them, probably like 4 years ago, before we really even kind of started taking off and doing things. But we had a different name, and we needed to figure out something that was kind of, we wanted a different name, so we wanted to figure out something that was going to be better and more suited to our sound and what we wanted. And so I really like a band called Narrowhead, and I think subconsciously I was thinking of their name a lot, and I was like, oh well, our music's a little sensitive and emotive. We could be like Sensitive Mind or Sensitive Head. And then somebody said Sensitive Head, was like phallic-y, and I was like, we're not going to go with that at all. Actually, we're not Sensitive Head, so that we're dropping that. And then Dave was like, well, babies have soft spots on their little sensitive heads, and I was like, dude, soft spot's the name. I was like, that's it. We're not going anywhere else. We're doing that. So we were soft spot after that.
With that song, with that or that story, that's practically a merch opportunity right there to make, like, branded onesies.
Yeah. I didn't even think about onesies. We thought about doing like the soft spot on a t-shirt or something, but a onesie would be killer. Yeah, it'd definitely change our demographic, but we're like whatever gets the listeners. Start listeners young, right?
Right, exactly. Sell a onesie with a pair of headphones or ear protection.
Oh, totally.
So you said that the band's gone through a couple of changes personnel wise. Who makes up the band now? Let's talk about them a little bit. They're not here, so you can say whatever you want. It could be like an employee review. I don't know. But tell everybody about who's in the band and what they bring to the music.
Yeah, so Soft Spot kind of started like as a solo project for myself during the pandemic. I like was crafting these songs during an emotional time. I had just broken up with my my longest relationship, and I was just writing, pumping out kind of like sad, emotive stuff. And I had met a drummer at the time, who's a different drummer. His name was Jim, and we played for a bunch, and then he ended up leaving, and then it was literally like a White Stripes kind of thing. Like, it was just drums and guitar for a little bit, and we didn't have any bass, and we kind of stumbled upon Dave, and he asked if he could like practice with us one night. So we were like, I was praying, I'm not really a religious person, but I was praying that we could find Dave and a person like Dave, because I'm so glad we found Dave. Not only is he a great bass player, but he's like a really good dude. And so it's just like kind of it was perfect. The stars aligned, everything, like it was like we were cosmically destined to find Dave. And he came to practice one night. I mean, filled out the band completely. I wasn't even like, I couldn't even care less what he was playing. It really was just like the sound and of like the feeling of everything, and if having a bass in the room was like all I needed. And so Dave joined the band then, and then about a year later, we got Mark involved into the band, and Mark was living in Philly at the time, and I've known Mark since high school. And we would jam in high school and stuff. When I first started playing guitar, I would go over to his place, and he'd play drums in his basement. I played like electric guitar, and we were kind of just like learning with each other. And then he went to school in Pennsylvania, came back, and or was living in Philly after he graduated, came back a few years ago, and Jim had ended up leaving, and we needed a drummer, and we were kind of playing with a couple people, like, just on and off drummers. We didn't have anybody who was set in stone at the time, but we had like my buddy Gio who was filling in, my buddy Sean who was filling in, and then Mark was like, ready. Mark was ready, so we took him in, and I mean, that was like I said, like, yeah, 3 years ago. And so Mark was kind of the last piece, I guess, to Saucespot. We're actually just added a new guitar player to our band, so we're filling out our sound even more. And so his name's Elliot, and so he's kind of, I guess, the last piece to what we really have sonically been trying to craft. So Softspot consists of Dave on bass, Mark on drums, me on guitar and vocals, and then Elliot doing guitar and vocals as well.
Great. Now it sounds like it's all coming together. Now, let's talk about the songs and the album a bit. You said it started out as kind of a solo project, something you were working on post relationship during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these songs, again, it's a heavy sound, but you ended up with an album called "This'll Make You Cry." Tell me about some of the songs and why you feel that listening to this album is going to make someone well up in tears.
So, like I said, like at the time when I had started like writing a few of these songs, like what I really like about this record is it doesn't go in order of where things were written, but it's like kind of this evolution of like soft spot sound. Everything's been recorded within the last like year, but some of the songs were written years ago. So it's like, Down was one of the songs that was more recent. Loose was more recent. Soul Gaze was more recent. And kind of those are the way that we've kind of been shifting musically. But when I first wrote these songs and we put out an EP, which I took off the internet because it was the same, I used the same artwork as the album, but I really I love the artwork, so I wanted to keep it. And also a couple of the songs aren't on this album either that were on that EP, just because it was a different time when we recorded them. We sound so much different. I think that was the first time we were really in a studio and I got exactly what I wanted, or now I'm getting exactly what I want out of music, or like with the music we're recording. Back then I didn't get what I wanted out of those recordings, so I'm taking them off the internet. We're taking the album art, reclaiming it, and recycling it into it was called I Hope This Makes You Cry, and then the album was going to be called This Will Make You Cry, and it was going to be a different artwork, but I was like, the artwork is too good. I kind of blurred it a little bit and made it a little different, and but that's still on Bandcamp. You can still find it on Bandcamp. So if people want to hear the old High and Dry, because we re-recorded High and Dry, or you want to hear Static or Shoot You Down, it's on Bandcamp. But yeah, so oh my God, I lost my train of thought here. So we oh, what was I saying? What was the question initially?
Well, it was about the songs on This Will Make You Cry.
Why is it called This Will Make You Cry?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Right. And so This Will Make You Cry is kind of like, it's not necessarily like for like people as a whole or anybody who's listening to the album. It's more pointed at the my ex-girlfriend, who I kind of like I guess wrote some of these songs for or about, or whatever, like not even for her, but like just about that time. And so the idea when we were doing it and deciding on the name and for the EP a few years ago, it was very pointed and it was specifically for a specific person rather than like everybody as a whole. But what I do love is we have gotten some messages from the internet about people who have listened to the record and they're like, "Oh, this song is actually did make me cry," or "I really like Love High and Dry," and it was this, and I'm like I love that, I mean, it's like it is emotive stuff, and it's like emotive when you write it, and like I personally like when I'm writing a sad song or something that's like kind of hits home a little bit, it makes me kind of well up. It makes me like, tear up, and um yeah, it's like I kind of feel like I know when that's like it's a not a good song, but like something that's gonna, if it makes me feel something, then I know it's gonna make somebody else feel something.
Now she's fully aware that these songs were written about her.
Oh yeah, she knows. Yeah, she knows.
Okay, so it's not like a Carly Simon "You're So Vain" kind of thing.
No, no, no. I told her about it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So you've got the songs on Bandcamp, the album's out. One of the things that I like to ask about is, as someone who's completely new to your music, and we listen to music so differently these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just don't plop down an album and listen it front to back. Your sound, is there one song in this collection, right? Doesn't have to be one of those singles, right? Is there one song that you're like, if someone was going to have the appetizer to our music, what's the hook that's going to reel them into the rest of the songs? Which song would that be and why?
That is such a tough question because I feel like I always know what I like best or what I think people would like best, and I never do, because anytime I really like a song, it's not something that everybody likes. It's like, "Oh, well, I actually like this song," and everybody would be like, "Oh, well, I like that song too," and I'm like, "Well," but personally, because it's like it changes for me. I love playing Use Me, and I feel like that's the song that I would want to catch people, and like that I think catches people because I think it's kind of groovy and it's kind of got this like little like the bass thing that's kind of going on, like kind of like draws you in a little bit, kind of makes you dance, even though we're not like very dancey band, but um I would have to probably go with Down. I just
You're
think
not a dancey band. It's an emotive album that'll make you cry. I'm waiting for the next album and see if you guys take a turn into pop music.
You never know. Yeah, really.
It just seems that it might be the way to go. So you guys are up in the Northeast, in the Connecticut area. Like, are you guys playing out a lot? Do you plan to do any run of shows come the fall? What's it look like for you the rest of the year?
Oh yeah. So summer was super busy. We went on tour. We went the first time to the Midwest. And summertime we kind of kept a little bare because we really wanted to write some new songs and get, some new stuff under our belt and like really focus on the next few months, or like the next really like 6 months for what we're doing. And that's what I kind of try to plan for the next 6 months, every few months, just reevaluate what we're doing and try to figure out what's working and not. But summertime really only played after our tour. Only played a couple times. We for the first time ever headlined the Space Ballroom in Hamden, Connecticut, which is a venue that I've been going to for years and seen bands and bands that I love, and so it was an honor to play that stage for the first time because I've been trying to play there forever. But yeah, that was the end of August, and but yeah, the fall we're planning on doing some weekend runs. So end of September, October, November, we'll be doing some weekend runs, and then pick up, like we will probably go back on tour come February or something around then. So kind of just trying to all plan that now and figure out what's the word, what we're doing. We have a lot of new music that we're going to be releasing. So I want to figure
Excellent.
out what's like best to, kind of like piggyback off of that.
Right, right. Well, all the links will be in below, so down below, so people can link to your. You've got a link tree. We'll throw a lot of that stuff in there, so that they can find you. Um, in your musical rise, let's say, who has been, or has there been someone who's either been your biggest inspiration or had the greatest impact on your career so far? Who's that, and what kind of impression have they left on you?
Wow. I'm gonna have to say probably the biggest impact for me personally, and I'm sure the boys could also agree as well, is our buddy Dan, Dan Updike. He is like crucial to all of this stuff that we've put out, like all the um, this most of this album was recorded in his basement, and the first time that we ever recorded as a band was in his basement, and he's been growing as a music curator, and he's been growing as an engineer, I should say, an engineer, and he's been working on his space and his microphones and everything for the last few years, and it's just gotten so much better. And like this album that we just put out, like a bunch of those songs were recorded, like 80% of the songs were recorded in his basement, and our first song ever, Static, was recorded in his basement. And Static is a bit archaic in comparison sound wise to what we have now, but we've grown so much since then. That was the end of 2022, and like I couldn't thank Dan enough. I really appreciate all he's done for us, the information he's given to us. He plays in a band called River Witches, and they're super awesome. You can find them on the internet, and he's helped us out tremendously. And I don't I couldn't have we could have put this record out, but it probably would have taken a lot longer than it did. And so I really, I'm so grateful for him, and everything he's done for us, and helped us with. And he's taken us under his wing, and he showed us so much that I didn't realize that I needed to know. And it's like, if I didn't have that information, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it to someplace else. Like, we went to a real studio, not a real studio. I don't know. He has a real studio. It's a very real studio, but we went to like a sanctioned, recording studio. And the knowledge and information I learned from him helped me to like get what I wanted out of that. And then ever since then, we've gone back to him and his studio, and just love recording with him, and just love him as a person, man. I really appreciate everything he's done. So that's my guy, man.
Well, no matter where you record, whether it's someone's basement, or you record like the Implosions did in they're out in the Las Vegas band, and they recorded their album in somebody's bedroom,
Oh, wow.
or you go to
Oh.
a building that is called a studio.
Yeah.
Each specific room has a sound and a nuance to it that kind of becomes part of your sonic landscape. So what matters is that you get the sonic landscape you want out of it, right?
Oh, totally.
So you mentioned that you've written some new songs. Any chance they'll be released in 2026? What are your future release plans? Start there.
Yeah, so hopefully by the end of 2025 we'll have a new song out, and but we're also going to be working on a lot more music, and a split EP with a band we just went on tour with, Drink Baby, and that'll be coming out probably early 2026. Probably, hoping to tour from it, so trying to go on tour early 2026, also put that out as well. But yeah, if you don't know Drink Baby, check them out. They were one of my favorite bands to not only play with but listen to. I'm like truly a fan, but I'm also friends with them, which is super cool.
Awesome. So the way we like to kind of get inside your head a little bit is, I don't have a bucket list. I'm just a guy who does stuff, right?
Mhm.
But a lot of people love to make lists about their dreams, their bucket list, whatever. If you had a chance to get into a studio for one day with one other artist to create together, who would it be, and why that individual?
Oh, wow. That is a great question. There are, I'm trying to think, man, that, and I feel like this is something that I should already like have conjured up, like something that I should have, I'm thinking, it probably wouldn't even be like a famous band or like a real touring band. I would probably wanna hmm. Oh man. I'm torn here. I've got a couple people in my head.
All right, all right, all right. You're torn. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make a special exception.
Yeah.
You got two. I'll give you two. Okay. Who makes the top two?
All right. So I think one would probably be my buddy Dan. We haven't made any music together. We've talked about it, but I would love to make some songs with him. Hearing what he makes, and because he'll show us. He likes recording us because it gets him to like test out his studio stuff and like how it sounds. So when I listen to his songs, I'm like, oh man, how do I make a song like that? Like, and then when we make a song and show him that, he says the same stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like it would be a good, like a really good little writing duo.
Well, that should be an easy one for you, and especially, if Dan watches, and Dan, you're on point now. So who would the other person be that if you could get into a studio with, and why them?
The other person, yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with Dan. I think that actually, now that I'm like talking about it, I'm like, I think, yeah, I would love to hit the studio, which we could make that happen. That is totally something that's feasible. So you might see it
Well,
in the near future.
then here's what we're gonna do. When you and Dan get in a studio and write one day, make that happen, and we're gonna get the both of you here, and we're gonna talk about the experience.
We're
How's
in,
that?
absolutely.
All right. So then, another thing. Look, you had a tour during the summer. You want to tour next year. The reality is, everybody, touring is expensive. Creating is expensive, and Soft Spot is just not going to get enough gas in the tank via their Spotify royalties. It is what it is.
This is the truth.
That being said, down below, you've got the links. Go to Bandcamp, buy that EP, buy the new album, support them if they're in your area, go to a show, buy a ticket, pick up some merch. You never know. If you're expecting, there could be a onesie on the merch store pretty soon for that little one to start getting into the band. But we also believe that it's important, like, we're just hanging out and we're talking, and like, I love new music. I love learning about things that people are listening to, whether it's an artist from 30 years ago that I may not have ever heard of, or someone that you're listening to today that's part of your workout regime, or you take it on a walk with you. Like, who are 2 or 3 artists that you jam out to now when you're not making your own music that you really love? And we're just sitting here having a beer and you're like, Scott, you got to listen to this stuff.
I think my most like favorite and listened to band of the last, I guess, a couple years or so. I mean, truly, like probably the last year, I've really, yeah, I've listened to them for a while, but it wasn't until like maybe real recently that I really listened to their stuff all the time. Is Hum. They're a '90s space rock band, super inspirational to the sound and I think the future sound of Soft Spot. I keep seeing people referring to them as your favorite band's favorite band, and I think that's so true, because then you look at how many bands that they've inspired and really like them and stuff. They're kind of like a cult, like rock band of the '90s. They're not necessarily a very known band, but people know them. People know their song Stars, and we play Stars a bunch. But yeah, Hum's got to be number one. Um, uh, I really love King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and I think that for most of these bands I was gonna say were very like reverberated ambient gazy bands, but King Gizzard is a band that like has so much going on, and they have just like a plethora of genres that they've dived into that like make it really inspirational for me as a musician. Like they might not be your favorite music, they might not make an album that is necessarily something that like you might find palatable, but the like all the genres they've jumped to and the amount of music that they've put out is like inspiring to me. I think it can be a little jarring and turn people away, but like to me, like that is like a super inspiring thing, and I love King Giz. I've seen them a bunch of times. I went to Red Rocks to go see them. Seen them in Forest Hills and Queens. They're playing in New Haven, Connecticut. So it's they're an inspirational band, and I love them, and they don't necessarily like directly impact my writing, but they definitely impact, I feel like, my drive for music, and the way that I enjoy music, because I'm so much more open to a lot of stuff now. I feel like through them, I didn't really listen to thrash metal. I mean, not that I really listen to thrash metal, but it's more palatable to me now. They started out kind of like psychedelic-ish, but they've gone to so much other stuff. They have like this like fusion jazz album that's really cool, and it's just like it kind of gets you into these things that you wouldn't necessarily like listen to. But so they're number 2, and then number 3, they probably are my favorite band. I mean, I say like Hum's my most inspirational, and I love them and stuff, but like Narrowhead is probably my number 3, is probably my favorite band. Band from Texas. They're kind of I don't even know what genre exactly. They're in the grungy shoegaze kind of realm, and kind of sonically like what we're doing. But I love Narrowhead. They're also like very inspirational to me. So those 3 bands are like super the inspirational stuff for me, like as songwriting, and for all that stuff. I just think those 3 bands are everything for me.
It's the stuff that makes you cry, right?
Oh yeah.
No, I think that's great. I mean, I think one of the interesting things that I love about music is, when you look at bands and the family tree of bands, and nowadays, given the state of the music business, people aren't just like typically in one band anymore, right?
Yeah.
They're in multiple, and you get to experience different things that they do, and you as a listener get to kind of connect the dots on your own, right? And I think that's one of the cool things. So I totally understand where King Gizzard, you'd go down that path, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm starting to open up to some other things, and wait a minute, this one did this and this one did that, and all that. So I totally get it, and I appreciate you sharing those with us. Everybody, if you see that soft spot, or if you have a soft spot for soft spot or little babies, make sure that you go to the links below, you check out their music, buy it, please buy it. Check out a gig, right? See if they're in your area, and enjoy what they're doing. Gianni, this has been a great opportunity to get to know you. I look forward to you guys. You're definitely coming back when you and Dan create the studio, because if this may be the first time that we actually got 2 people together to do it, and since you know him, you can make him do it. We'll talk about that experience sometime soon when you guys actually do it, and we'll listen to what you've created. So Gianni, thank you for hanging with me. Everybody, thank you for hanging with us. Remember, you can take us with you anywhere you go, whether you are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where else would you listen to a podcast? iHeartRadio, Podbean, Player FM, you name it. We'll have links to all that below as well. So Gianni, thank you for hanging. Everybody else, thank you for hanging. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Take it easy.
Care.
Bye for now.